In this video, we're going to go over the breaking news for uranium. This has to do with the spot market, Kazatomprom. There are a lot of things I'm going to cover in this video. A lot of people forgot some big news that happened earlier in the year, some things that the biggest uranium producer, Kazatomprom, was saying. And I'm going to put all these puzzle pieces together because today they announced something in a Canaccord call that they said actually that they're looking to hit $80 to $90 spot prices, and they're going to use this new uranium trust fund they're investing in to help secure this. I'm going to talk about that. A lot of people have been asking me questions, so hit that like and subscribe button below for $200 uranium, and we're going to jump right into this. So I just tweeted this out. So I said that Kazatomprom is looking to buy in the spot market. This was back in August. I'm going to put a timeline together here for you. So Kazatomprom said that they wanted to rebuild their inventories, and this is their CEO. This was August 27th, and they were considering making purchases in the spot market. And Kazatomprom had also said that they believe that in the next 5+ years that there needs to be two of equivalent of Kazatomproms, I believe, to meet the demand, the future demand. So this is very big. Here's the biggest uranium producer coming into the uranium market, the spot market, to help increase their inventories. And this is a company that can produce a lot. Now, another thing that they said in August, that they look to supply China with 60 million pounds worth of U3O8 in the future. So China is looking to boost this. Now, if you don't already know, Kazatomprom in China, they actually, Chinese companies, CGN actually got 49% of one of their mines. So it was like 4 to 5 million pounds a year that it actually now has. So this was very big. I believe a lot of governments are now seeing the fact that uranium is going to be a very scarce commodity in the future. This U3O8, this fuel that takes multiple years to make, is going to be very hard to come by. This was the Bloomberg report when they said this. It was actually saying that to be sure there is competition for Kazatomprom supplies, with the producer is also in talks with China to help build the country's strategic stockpile designed to hold 23,000 tons by 2026. So this is huge news, and you got to put all these puzzle pieces together. So August, they look to buy spot. Then August, they said they are looking to supply a lot of pounds to China. Then in September, Kazatomprom said they look to supply, and that was in this as well, what I just showed you, Bloomberg, supply Sprott Physical Uranium Trust with future spot uranium if there is no supply. And this was big because a lot of people asked this. They said, okay, what would happen if there was no supply in the spot market or started to run out and prices started to run? Well, Sprott Physical Uranium Trust is in talks with Kazatomprom, and this is something they're looking into. So this was very, very bullish to me with all of these things happening. And then this, within yesterday, this coming out with ANU, Kazatomprom looking to fund this new uranium trust. So I'm like wondering, okay, is this because, things with Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, they're starting to see the amount of money that they can make and add to their own company, and also to help secure pounds because they believe it's going to go up? Yes, 100%. I think that Kazatomprom sees that the spot price in uranium is going to go up. And what they said was, and this is where it gets a little tricky. So I guess this is still rumored. It hasn't officially came out. People are saying that Kazatomprom is looking for an 80 to 90 pound spot price. Now, this would help protect the long-term price, is what they said. This was with Canaccord call yesterday, I believe, is what people are saying. And if this is true, 80 to 90 pound spot price, some people are saying that it could mean 80 to 90 pound ceiling, or it could mean 80 to 90 pound floor. Now, Kazatomprom can produce fairly cheap compared to other uranium producers out there, and this is one thing. There's one reason a lot of the prices in the past 10-year bull market, they have been low. Kazatomprom could supply at a lower cost than other producers. But it is very interesting that they're saying 80 to 90 pounds. Now, remember, Kazatomprom, their mines will eventually also deplete. So, they're not a long-term producer, 20 to 50 years out without, getting these new mines, without investing in new, infrastructure. So I think they do see that in the next couple of years, as utility companies start to want to do these long-term contracts, they need to have pounds ready. And, with talking with Sput, now we have Sputnik, who I call this new fund, the ANU, jumping in there. I think it's probably smart to say that Kazatomprom is looking to hedge themselves as these spot prices go up. Now, we're starting to see more mainstream coverage. This is another thing. We'll watch this real quick. This is CNBC about the Sput and Spot run.
There's momentum behind uranium stocks after years of investors largely overlooking the space. And this all comes down to what some believe will be nuclear power's vital role in the energy transition. Spot uranium prices topped $50 in September for the first time since 2012, according to data from UxC, and investors are taking note. The North Shore Global Uranium Mining ETF and Global X Uranium ETF are two funds that track the space, and both are up more than 20% for October. Together, these two funds have seen more than $1 billion in inflows this year. The biggest winners this month are Australian microcap names Bannerman Energy and Vimy Resources. Some of the larger players like Kazatomprom, Cameco, and NextGen Energy are also seeing gains. Now, part of the recent rally has been thanks to retail investors, with uranium mentions jumping on social platforms. But new data from VandaTrack, which tracks retail trading, shows that in the last few weeks, retail traders have slowed their buying. The firm said this points to institutional investors as behind the most recent leg higher. And
this is just really the kind of bull market we're in. You're starting to see it now on mainstream news. More positive news. Here's some other stuff that I have out there. 120 million euro to develop new SMRs. This was out yesterday. UK is set to cut greenhouse gas emissions, so they are investing 120 million, and Bill Gates was meeting with them. So their path, they want to obviously invest in greener energy sources, but this is very bullish, I think, for the uranium sector. It's just another added thing. Another great thing happened yesterday was Uranium Royalty Corp added 400,000 more pounds. They stacked more. Same thing with Sput. They added in the past couple of days as well, adding pounds. So you're starting to see, the spot price, the ask go up again. I think it's $48 right now. Uranium stocks were mixed yesterday, mixed gains. Some of them, when we see these big runs, 20, 30% in a day, it's, in the uranium market, it's normal to see a little bit pullback. Another thing that happened was Bannerman. A lot of insiders sold on that stock. I talked about them yesterday. I think that a lot of people ask me about it. I think it's pretty normal to see this. We saw uranium stocks in a 10-year bear market. So if management starts to cash in a little bit, I think that a lot of this has to do with possible, options and warrants in the future. If I was management, I would probably cash out somewhat a little bit because, if I wanted to exercise warrants in the future, a lot of management, they're not paid as much as you think. The good uranium companies that have done really well, a lot of them, their management doesn't really they just get stock. So this is something that I don't think it's any alarming thing. I don't think that uranium is, they're looking at uranium going down or anything, management. But that stock Bannerman is very, very good at recovering, and it can drop. So that was one that I was looking at. I told you guys before. One of the last things we're going to cover is the commodity prices. This is copper. Okay, so copper, the squeeze is happening in a lot of commodities, but the London Metal Exchange, this had a massive run, $1,000+ we saw in the last couple days, and this is really because of the decreased stockpiles of copper and other commodities as well. We're starting to see the supply crunch, and just this chart, I want you guys to see, it's insane. I mean, you see this chart, look at how parabolic moves we've seen just in this. So embarked for withdrawal was near the lowest since the 1970s on Tuesday. So like I said, these supplies are dropping. You're starting to see commodities react in a crazy, crazy way. Now, one thing I do want to talk about with coal, specifically the energy, it has dropped a little bit. And this is because, and I want to tie this into what we were talking about with Kazatomprom. So China, they actually said October 5th, China's top economic planning agency said government intervention in coal prices was discussed at a meeting of key coal producers on Tuesday. And this, this type of intervention with the government churning back on coal mines, even though they've been churning off a lot of them, this I think is going to we're starting to see this in uranium as well. Although they can't just churn on production like that in uranium. So how can governments, how can, these agencies secure uranium? Well, they can do it in contracts. They can also do it in the spot market. And I think that's what you're starting to see with these new trusts. And someone did, this is still speculation, but someone did comment a couple days ago on one of my videos, and they said that it would be very smart, it's still speculation, if the US government would look to hedge uranium. And remember, we use uranium not only with our reactors, but they use it weapons and also the ships, that use U3O8 as well. So, a government cannot not have nuclear fuel. And the same thing with, Russia. We're starting to see, like I said, these supply crunches happening. So could this be a way for China to secure this future, 60 plus million pounds? Possibly. I think it would be very smart for them to do this via the spot market. If this happens and we start to see major buying, if China, these utility companies are starting to hedge, this uranium, this U3O8 via the spot market to help get $80 to $90 prices in the spot market, it's going to be very, very, very bullish for uranium stocks. So I think this is where I think things are going. Putting all this together, I think people are starting to see, government agencies, utilities are starting to see that uranium is going to do a run a lot like we saw, the copper LME prices, because they're starting to, the inventory is starting to drop, multi-decade low. And we're going to start to see this, the same thing in uranium. Now, uranium, very opaque, like I've said before, but you'll start to see utility companies come in, starting these contracts, and you're going to see a lot more spot volume buying. So I think we're going to see probably $55, $60 plus very soon in the spot market if we continue to see this buying. We got to look to Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, look to the volume there. If SRUF continues to have more and more buying volume, I think we're going to start to see more buying overall in the markets for the uranium stocks. Like they said earlier, I think retail traders are going to start to come back. A lot of retail traders are a little nervous in some ways. They're looking at the overall market, thinking it's extended, thinking that inflation's here, and that the interest rates could go up, markets could correct a little bit. But I honestly think that there's no greater investment in the world than uranium right now, and commodities in general, but especially uranium. Highly leveraged play on the uranium price, and with the spot price going up, with Sput and Sputnik coming into the market, it's almost, for me, it's one of the easiest investments I've ever done in my whole life. And I can go to bed at night and not worry about anything. The only thing I think we could see negative, people have asked us, what could that be? If we have another accident, and like Fukushima, and really, though, it didn't drop uranium stocks, overnight. Like, these things were a gradual, the price still went up for a time being, and it gradually started to go down. And that overproduction really is what killed it. But right now, we're not going to see that production come back, I don't think. If the biggest uranium producer in the world is looking to buy in the spot market, that should tell you something. And I'm looking to get this uranium documentary out. I'm waiting for a couple more key data points that are coming out that I need to put this together. And all these things, I'm re-editing a little bit because of the news that we had. So if you guys are excited for that, hit the like and subscribe button below. And until next time.